Hey y'all, welcome to Big Texas Bossin, the show that spills the Texas tea on bossing up, tossing coins, and living your biggest and best life on your own terms. I'm your host, Leilani Wilson Jones.
It's time for Big Texas Bossin with Leilani Wilson Jones. Spilling the tea on Bossin Up.
Our next guest is an exceptional businesswoman with expertise in the healthcare industry, a veteran medical social worker with more than 3 decades of experience. Belyne Bland-Xochihua is a mental health advocate and hospice administrator who specializes in end-of-life care. As an independent associate, she provides supportive counseling services to hospice patients and facilities at a Dallas area Parkinson's support group. Belyne is also licensed in grief and trauma using rapid resolution therapy and traditional counseling. A woman of many hats, Belyne is an author and host of an internet radio show, True Talk, pre-COVID. She did that show, and Belyne actively serves the community 24/7. She is currently an active chairperson of a local chamber of commerce, is a community ambassador of the local Lions Club, and serves on several boards. Welcome to Big Texas Bossin, Belyne Bland-Xochihua.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good to be here.
Thank you. It is amazing that you're here. I'm so glad you had the opportunity to come in today. You are a 37-year veteran medical social worker.
Yes.
You are an author. You are a mental health advocate. You came out of Texas, the great state of Texas's Abilene Christian College in San Angelo. You have a master's from City College, London. You're currently pursuing your doctorate. You're licensed in grief and trauma therapy using rapid resolution therapy and traditional counseling. You are an independent associate who provides supportive counseling services to hospice patients, facilities, and a Dallas area Parkinson's support group.
Yes.
You're involved in several community boards. You are an active chairperson on the local Chamber of Commerce for Glen Heights. You are a community ambassador of the local Lions Club. And you are a host pre-COVID. You did your own radio show, True Talk. So
You've made me tired already.
yes, you have a long list of accolades and that are hard to walk in. It's busy for you, I'm sure, and you've got a lot going on. So with so much to talk about, let's start with why hospice is important to you.
Hospice is extremely important and for several reasons, but I don't imagine that most people wake up one day and say, oh, I want to work with hospice. That's just not really how that goes, I sort of kind of fell into it, and I will tell you that I really did not want to be in that space because I didn't think that I was worthy. When I think of hospice, because of the services that it provides, people are allowing you in their homes, in their space, and that is a privilege for anyone to be able to go into someone's home to provide services. I realize that our community, the Black and Brown community, do not take advantage of the hospice program that the state has put together. And this program allows people to have assistance at home to help you through the grief, to help you through the trauma of, you go into the hospital because you have a stomach ache and then they tell you have cancer. That's traumatic. And so, you have that hospice program that has all of those disciplines, from the chaplain to the nurse to the RN to your social worker to your volunteer coordinator. You have all of those right in front of you, right at your fingertips.
Right.
And so when I looked at the program and I realized that our community is so underserved. And so that just really kind of fueled me more to let people know more about it. You don't have to do this alone. You can have a team.
Right.
And so then I just became passionate about it, especially because most of the people who are in hospice are seniors. And, those are my homies, I call, that's my group.
Right.
So it was just even more of a reason for me to be involved in the hospice program.
And one of the things that you stated a second ago while you were talking was that we don't get involved in it and we're underserved. How is the minority community underserved, and why do you think that is?
Well, for several reasons. Number one is that our community is afraid of the word hospice.
Right.
For some reason, I am not sure, but for some reason, hospice has been attached to a concept of, someone's trying to kill you. And this is kind of a dry humor, but I tell people all the time, we're not trying to take you out. We won't get paid if you're not here. So no, we're trying to provide quality of life.
Right.
And, we want you to live your best life, at this particular time. Everyone goes through a season. And two of the things that are factual in this life, we all have a birth date. We all have a death date. We just don't know when that last one is. But isn't it wonderful if you get the opportunity to know, someone tells you, you have this disease process and you would may or may not be here within 6 months to a year. And so now we're going to give you this team,
Right.
to help you. In our community, we just don't know.
Right.
We
so
just
do you
don't- we
feel
don't
like
have the
it's
education.
How do we get the word out that our loved ones don't have to die in the veins that they're dying in unnecessarily, and that you can have the benefits of this beautiful service, and you can die with dignity and respect and still plan your death, but it's a very peaceful transition.
Correct. Things like this. Doing interviews, having podcasts, giving information out publicly. This is a good platform. But the best thing is word of mouth. If I can go out and I work with a company to provide this great amount of services to someone and help them through their season, and then they tell someone, and they tell someone, and they tell someone. And that's the best way, is word of mouth. On everything, right. Isn't that, right?
Right. That is. As much as I'd love to plug Altruist Hospice and say that, the clientele we're rolling in, I agree with you. Word of mouth, definitely helps. And it's customer service.
Yes.
Tell us what we should expect as a consumer of hospice from a customer service standpoint.
So from customer service standpoint, first of all, as I said, you'll have a team. So you have a team of people to support you and to really kind of help you, guide you through this process. Because let's face it, most people who go on hospice, they've never had the experience, so they don't know what to expect.
Right.
But you have your RN who will be there with you through all your clinical needs. You have your physician who is going to make sure to guide everything, from medications. And the number one thing with hospice is that we want to make sure that you are comfortable. That is the main thing. No one should have to, number one, die in disrespect. No one should have to die with a great amount of pain. And I know that our community is afraid of the word morphine, but morphine is a great drug when it's used properly. And most physicians in hospice, when we provide morphine, it's just a teeny tiny bit at a time. And
Right.
It's when you have that pain. And let's face it, if you were having pain, and I tell family members, if you were having pain, when you have a toothache, what do?
You go to the dentist.
You go to the dentist. What does the dentist do? They give you medication. That's
Right.
That's all morphine is. It's medication. It's medication to take care of that pain. And so you can expect for us to be courteous to your needs. We are going to sit down with you.
Okay.
We are going to make sure that it's individualized. It's not cookie cutter. Just because one person, the pain is the issue, it does not mean that if I go to this patient's home over here, that pain is their issue. It may not be pain. It may be that their family is in denial and they don't know how to talk to them about what they're going through.
Right.
So, we have to, we will sit down and make it individualized for each person. And every discipline will come and do their assessment. And we'll sit down and we'll talk to them. And we're not going to rush you through anything. We're going to sit with you and get down all of the information and figure out, okay, what's the best way that we can help you?
Right. Love is patient, love is kind.
Yes.
And so we definitely have to respect that when people are dying.
Yes.
Can you tell me when is the time right? Because a lot of times what I see is people want hospice and they've got 5 days to live, basically.
Right.
And they haven't received all of the benefits. So let's talk about when is it the right time to go on hospice?
And we talk about this and we say, the earlier the better, right?
Right.
When you have been have that diagnosis and say, for instance, everyone always uses cancer. So I'll just use cancer, for instance. All cancer does not mean a death sentence.
Right.
But if you've went to the doctor multiple times and, they've done all of these different treatments and nothing has worked and, they've just kind of exhausted everything.
Right.
Don't just sit back and go, well, we're just going to pray about it. And I'm not saying don't pray about it because, yes, we are going to pray about it. But while we're praying, God has allowed the hospice program to be put in place. So let's go ahead and call someone. It is not going to hurt for you to have someone come out and do an evaluation.
Right.
Because not everyone is hospice appropriate. But you can call and you can have someone come and do an evaluation and say, okay, looking at everything, your paperwork, your medical history and everything, then yes, we do believe that you are appropriate for these services. So the sooner the better.
Right. Can you tell us some of the diagnoses that you typically see in hospice, the primary diagnosis, and reasons to be on hospice?
A number of the diagnoses is going to be congestive heart failure, COPD, of course, your cancers, HIV, AIDS, and all of these are when things are not controlled.
Right.
When they're not able to really be managed by regular medicine and by treatments.
Let's talk about Alzheimer's a little and the fact that the FDA just released a new drug, authorized a new drug that is supposed to help with Alzheimer's, which we have to see. But when does the Alzheimer's patient go on hospice?
So Alzheimer's is a bit tricky.
Okay.
Because it is not one of those diseases that, you do have stages in every disease process, right? But it does affect people differently, kind of like Parkinson's as well.
Right.
But you will see with Alzheimer's, along with the confusion, forgetfulness, that disorientation that the person may have, you may see falls because we say their gait is unsteady. And so that just means that maybe they're shuffling instead of actually picking up their feet and walking.
Okay.
Maybe they're not eating, so they're losing weight. And then maybe they are eating, but they're losing weight anyway. So, all of those, it's the little things that you don't really pay real close attention to when it's your loved one.
Right.
You just go, oh, Big Mama's fine. She's just getting older and she forgets things, but you have to really pay attention to those things. Like when you have a patient who you ask them to brush their hair or, something small like that, and they pick up a toothbrush, or if they think that an actual hairbrush is a fork, and a lot of your Alzheimer's patients are able to mask very, very well. I had a patient at one time, you could ask him a question and he laughs and he says, "Oh, you already know that." And so his family, they just thought, "Oh, grandpa, he's just being funny," and didn't realize it's because he couldn't think of the proper response.
Right.
So he would just laugh and make joke of it, or he would, say something very flip, and so they thought, "Oh, that's cute."
Right. Not realizing
Right.
that grandpa was suffering. Right. Okay. Are there any final tips that you can give to people to make decisions for their loved ones, or how they can make the days count?
Well, one of the things I'd like to say to the community is, especially as a social worker, I have seen a number of our people be told things that are not true, such as, if you don't sign up for this particular hospice program, your Medicare is going to get taken away, or your Medicaid's, going to change, or, just off the wall things.
Right.
And I'd like to say, and please, everyone, please hear me. You have a choice. The patient has a choice. Just as if you received a diagnosis and you decided to get a second opinion, you can do the same thing with hospice. We try to, when you sign up with a hospice company, I always advocate, if you have an issue, you need to tell someone.
Right.
Don't just get upset and go, "Oh, I'm going to another company." No, you need to call someone. Let's talk about it. Let's fix it, because, communication is the key. No one can read your mind, so you have to communicate. When I sit down with any family member, I'm always asking them, what are your expectations?
Right.
And these are my expectations, because, see, it's a team process. Hospice doesn't go in and provide you 24-hour care 7 days a week, not on site. Now, hospice is available 24 hours, 7 days a week. And you can call in at any time and get service. But no one is going to sit at bedside for that period of time. And so people have to understand and have to know what the expectations are. And this is with anything that I'll say to everyone, with anything, please stand up for yourselves. Let people know what your expectations are, because people will treat you the way that you teach them to treat you.
Absolutely.
So if you do not take care of yourself, and this is to all of our caregivers out there, you need to make sure that you know your limits. Because if you don't take care of yourself, guess what everyone else is going to do? They're going to treat you the way you treat yourself.
Right.
So you have to know where your limits are, and you have to say, okay, enough is enough. I need a break. And again, your hospice program, it has a little caveat called respite.
Right? We haven't talked about respite care.
Yes. And your respite, it gives you a little break.
Right. Let's briefly touch on respite. Since we haven't, let's briefly touch on it.
Yes. So, every hospice company does have, that service, and it is for the caregiver, because you do get burnout. Doesn't mean you do not love your loved ones.
Oh,
but taking care of someone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week is very difficult. And even if it's, 8 hours a day, 4 days a week, it's difficult, Those of us who are mothers, raising children, we get that. We understand that.
Yes.
Well, when you have an adult, especially an adult with Alzheimer's, it's like having a child.
Yes.
But they're an adult. So you have to, there's a line. You have to really be careful not to be disrespectful. You cannot treat an adult like a child. So when you get to that point, and I say, the way that you know that you're there and you need respite is that if you find yourself being very short-tempered with the person,
Yes.
Or if you are depressed, if you are very anxious all the time, if you are not getting rest, because sometimes they have sundowners, they don't sleep, they're sleep during the day, awake at night.
Yes.
All of these things, you have to pay attention to your body. And so if you have these things going on, you have to say to yourself, it may be time for me to take a break.
Yes.
And that's where your respite comes in.
Yes, that is awesome. You have been more than informative on today's segment, and
Thank
we will
you.
definitely have to have you back. Please tell our audience where they can follow you.
Oh my goodness. I am really horrible at social media. I really am. However, I do provide private practice in the mental health world.
Okay.
And so my company is called Mind Resolve.
Okay.
And I do have a LinkedIn page, and my LinkedIn is Belyne Bland-Xochihua. So I know that is a lot, but I looked up myself at one time, and there's only one Belyne. So if it's
Okay.
Belyne. So if you Google me, I will come up.
Okay. Okay. Well, there you have it. That's how we'll find Miss Belyne. As a guest of Big Texas Bossin, you will get our signature chocolate hat from a local chocolatier called
beautiful.
Chocolate Secrets. I hope you enjoy that. And
Yay,
you'll
thank
also
you.
receive a book that I co-authored with Travion Davenport, who is our
Okay.
executive producer. The book is called Sugar Mama. I encourage you to read it and live, love, laugh, and cry through the entire book.
That's my nickname. There you go.
Sugar Mama, that's your nickname? All right. Well, we got 2 sugars, and we'll have to have you back to see who's the sweetest.
There you go. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you. And today on my fashion segment, we have another Big Texas boss, acclaimed Germany-born, Houston-based kimono designer, Lasonja Polk. Welcome to the show, Lasonja.
Thank you. Grace and peace to you also.
Yes, definitely. Today, Lasonja and I are going to talk about following your passion, making a living from doing it, and capturing a niche market in a one-stop shop culture. Lasonja, tell the Big Texas Bossin audience all about your design business, where you pull your inspirations from when you bring your wearable arts to life.
Okay. Well, that's a big one. That's a big question. But as you mentioned, I'm Lasonja Polk. I'm a designer based now in Houston, Texas, and been here for a little while now. With regards to my design inspiration, this is something that's been in me for literally years. And I can honestly say that, especially in this time right now of quick fashion, quick pop-up businesses, I have actually been sewing and designing since I was 9 years old. So
wow.
About 40-something years. I'm telling my age now. But yeah, born with it. My mother used to say, she used to tell me the story. I was born in Germany. And when she was pregnant with me, she really took up sewing because she was lonely in Germany.
Right.
My father's military, and they had her and my brother and my father had been in Germany for about 4 years before I was born. And so she was, the only female in the house. And so she needed to take up a hobby, and she sewed constantly. And then when she became pregnant with me, she said it really intensified, where she was sewing curtains and dresses and shirts and just everything. And then her girl came along, her partner, and we stayed in Germany for another 4 or 5 years. And it was just her and I must have picked it up.
Right. Well, you were born this way is what it sounds like. Yeah,
I was born this way. Mm-hmm. And when we moved to the States, we moved to Alabama, and life happened. My parents got a divorce, and I became a latchkey child. My older brothers moved out of the house, so it was just me and my mom.
Right.
And and there was nothing to do. I should have been doing homework, but I saw this pink sewing machine sitting over there in the corner, and I was like, you know what? I need some clothes. My dog needs some clothes, and let's figure this thing out. And so I taught myself how to sew. Eventually, I did go to school for fashion, college, and for fashion merchandising and fashion construction here in Texas Southern University.
Oh,
so,
wow.
In Houston.
Now, I didn't realize TSU, well, a few years ago when my daughter went, they didn't have the fashion design program, but I guess they're bringing it back.
Right, and I wish that they would. I don't know if they have it now, but when I was there, again, like I say, I'm 50 plus. So I was there in 91, 92, 93.
Okay.
And we had construction science there, and they call it consumer education.
Right.
And so my teacher, Dr. Goodens, man, she was strict, but she was a force to be reckoned with, and would not, take less than mediocre. She wouldn't take mediocre work at all. And for that, and I used to say, I know how to sew. I could do this because I was a home sewer.
Right.
I
and
did
there's
prom
a
dresses.
difference.
There's a difference. I did prom dresses in high school. I made my clothes in junior high. I would decorate my tennis shoes. I'd sew fringes on them. But then when I got to college and she would give us an assignment, and we had the commercial machines at school and at the university. And I've always worked on a home machine. And when she would give us an assignment, I'd take it home, whip it up in one night, and bring it back to school the next day and be like, bam, look at what I did.
And I'm sure she ripped the seams out and made you get on the industrial machine and do it so that the stitching was correct.
Ripped it apart in front of everybody. And it hurt my feelings, hurt my feelings hard. I told her about it. I told her about it. She apologized for it, but I was like, don't apologize. You was being authentic in your instructions.
Right.
And you were being the elder that I needed to have at that time.
Right, and that was disrespectful to her teaching. So she knew she had taught you better, and she expected better. That was natural, Lasonja. I don't know why you thought that would withstand the course. But you tried her and you learned. Yes, and I love that about TSU. There were some experiences there with my daughter, but one of the things that people miss with the HBCU is you get the homegrown foundations, whether you want it or not. Yeah. If there's anything you missed in growing up, they clarify it for you.
Exactly, because I thought I was big ballers back then.
Right.
I was making, at the time I had met a professional boxer here in Houston. And he asked me to do his robe and cornerman jackets and his trunks for the ring, for his next fight.
Right.
And so, and in the early 90s, that was, I'd charge him, a couple of $1,000s for it, and it was no big thing. So I thought I was big balling back then.
Right. That was huge.
And really, I was, but I needed to have that elder that kind of pulled me back in and say, look, slow down. And this is what we need to do. And you want to maneuver in this world at a professional level. And she taught me that. And I'm thankful for it.
That's awesome. So your style has a lot of textures, a lot of creative patterns, just a lot of vibrancy. How did you pull that out of your upbringing between Germany, Tuscaloosa, and wherever else you were before you landed at TSU in Houston, Texas? Because you're not the norm.
Right. So my mother had she's got 5 sisters. My grandmother had 12 kids, 6 boys and 6 girls.
Okay.
And all of the girls knew how to sew. And from my aunt, I picked up how to crochet. I picked up how to knit. I picked up how to sew. I picked up how to paint. From each one of those aunts, a little bit of something. And with regards to my sewing, I did not have the training when I was young, but I knew I loved fabrics. I knew I loved color. And the only way I can get pieces of fabric to put together because I've never had a large yardage of fabric that I could buy from the fabric store at the time. So I would cut a little bit of my mother's curtains, or I would cut a little bit of the blanket, or I would cut a little bit of my skirt, and kind of piece it together. And I think that blended and melted in my mind. And then I just developed an eye for how to place colors together. Like, I love blacks and white, but I like putting them with, a ruby or an emerald or even a teal because it makes it pop a little bit. And I don't have a problem with mixing paisleys with stripes. I have an eye for that.
Right, you do. You have an excellent eye and a very accurate eye to bring those patterns and things together. Now, tell me, how did you end up making kimonos your niche? I don't even know that there's anybody else in the world that has that niche, but how did you arrive at that niche?
Started that when I was asked to do a fashion show or to produce a fashion show for the city of Houston, probably about 4 years ago now. I've been in and out of sewing and sewing business, like I say, for pretty much all my life. I have had other careers, and that's just with regards to having a family and being able to support. But with regards to sewing and sewing business, I've had that all my life. For the last 4 years, I was asked to produce a fashion show. And at the time, I could not find stores that would lend clothes. And back in the day, clothes, you can go to a clothing store and say, hey, we're producing a fashion show, even though I had the big name of the city of Houston. And they would lend you clothes. But at this point, not too many people would. So I was like, you know what? I need to put some stuff together. And at the time, I did have another customer that wanted like a jacket put together. And so I'm doing my sketches, and I'm doing some sketches, and it just kind of popped up that, a kimono coat. And I usually do my sketches.
Okay.
And that just kind of how it happened. And then the next morning, I usually do my best sewing at like 4 or 5 in the morning. And so I'm downstairs putting patterns together, and voila, within 72 hours, I had made like about 5 kimono coats that I could use in fashion show. And then it just developed from there. I had customers right after that fashion show.
Wow, that was nice. That was really nice for the city of Houston and for you as a boost. So where do you pull your inspirations from, though? And how are you procuring these fabrics?
I pull my inspirations really just kind of pop up in my head. I've always been a visual.
Okay.
And I love magazines. I am a lover of magazines and fashion and editorials and putting layouts and formatting designs together. And that, just playing around with fabrics and textures. And that's one thing about Texas Southern that I did learn was the difference between synthetics and natural fabrics, and how they blend well with each other, and how they fold well with each other, and how they marry. And that's something that I try to teach when individuals, they see me on Instagram, or they see my work and they ask me questions. And I really just tell them, you have to be patient and figure out what your style is. What is good for you? What is coming out of you? What is coming out of your soul? And then you try to work with that, and you make your own identity and your style. And just for me, it just happens to be a merry collection of colors and patterns. And so I really just kind of focused on that.
Right. Everything that you produce is beautiful, even in its own right with the colors. So what are your core pieces that you carry in your boutique, though? Things that you'll always make for yourself in the boutique?
I do. I'm always going to stick with the kimono and the jacket types. I have started doing like the boleros, the shorter versions of the kimonos. I have started doing, this is like a caftan, and that's what people get kind of confused. They want to marry the caftan and the kimono together, but the caftan doesn't have the split, the open down the front. it's just like a dress with a large sleeve.
Beautiful.
And so I'm doing some of those. Like, I do have a client now, and she's a singer, and that's a client that I'm wooing right now. Okay. And she wants to be free when she's singing on stage, and she wants to have the freedom, but she also wants to look the part as well. And so we're going to work together, and I'm designing some pieces for her. So that's something that I also do, where I do have my constant product, but I will marry with a client, and if they want something that I could produce, because I be very careful with. Some people will come to me and they'll say, I saw this design and I want you to make it. Well, I'm very careful with not pulling from that design because it's not mine. Right. So understand my aesthetic, understand my designs, understand my design process, and if that's something that you can enjoy, because not everybody feels comfortable with wearing paisleys and stripes and polka dots and brocades, and along with some lace at the end. But if you have the attitude and the confidence and want to be that woman or that man that stands out at an event, or even just go to the grocery store with your leggings on, then we can do something. The design, Lasonja Polk Designs is for you.
Right, right. That is wonderful. Do you have any celebrity clients that you can give us the tea on that you've designed for?
Well, recently, and after I had started my business with the KIMONOS, my first celebrity clients was Pastor Sarah Jakes Roberts, and I worked with Jay Belyne with regards to that client, and ended up sending about 9 pieces out there to her, and for her to choose from, right. And ended up she liked all of them.
Oh wow!
And so. That was a compliment, and I love that. And then every once in a while, when she would have an event or have a spotlight or something, a video was popping up, and I would, I see my kimono, or I see, so that was nice. In the past, I have done work for, like I say, boxers, athletes, Olympic stars, and and some other people.
Right. Well, it sounds like you've got an extensive repertoire. And you know what? I didn't think about it prior to our interview, but your body of work is perfect for a boxer. I mean, it's just perfect. The kimono, the robe, the boxing shorts, and how you could make everything intricate and specialized to that person with something that none of us would ever think about. So that is awesome.
Yeah, and that was during that time, and we're still really good friends now. And he's retired. He's gone on and retired. But
can you name him?
Yeah, it's Reggie Johnson. Reggie Johnson here in Houston.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice.
And so, but no, we were, and I also like to tell and encourage the younger designers that are coming up now, because this world is moving so fast. With just get it right now, move it right now. And a lot of our younger entrepreneurs are coming out and busting into the scene without a lot of background, or just not a lot of understanding of what's going on. But I do have to give them credit, because a lot of them are researching. A lot of them are going to fashion school and going to business school, because the two have to marry. Right. If there was anything that I would have wanted to do differently when I was going through my fashion education, would be to marry the business part with the fashion and the creative part.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I was going to ask you, what advice would you give to the up-and-coming struggling designer that wants to bring their platforms to life, but they don't have the capital? How did you do it, maybe as a footstep tool? Or I know that you said having the business portion along with the creative portion is what you need. But what would you tell somebody struggling? I'm fresh on the block, and I want my designs. I think I'm the best. What do I do? But I don't have any money.
First of all, if you have the passion for it, it's going to come. But I would tell you, patience is going to be your best friend. And if you can, everyone needs a mentor. And right now, there's so many individuals out here. And I think that with regards to social media, we're so apt to just DMing people and saying, hey, can you give me your formula of how you got started? Can you just tell me what to do? When really, I would like it if someone approached me and said, hey, I have admired you for what you've done. Do you mind if I study up under you? Or do you mind if I can help you on your next project? I do have a lot of, younger individuals that want to just really just tell them what to do. And it's harder for me to tell you what to do because I've learned so much just by doing it and just the experience of it and the patience of it and the falling down and the getting back up and the falling down and the getting back up. And, and when your feelings get hurt, don't worry about it because if it's for you, you keep pushing, it will happen for you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But really just a mentorship. You got to get a mentorship. We used to do internships. I interned with Nordstrom's. I interned with Simon Group. They owned malls back in the day, shopping malls.
Okay.
I interned with them, and not all of them paid. And I do believe in people getting compensated. I really do. But experience is, it's priceless.
Absolutely. Absolutely agreed. So what would you say some of your biggest, we talked about peaks, but we didn't really talk about troughs. What would you say have been some of your biggest troughs and struggles? Because I know you said that you worked in other industries, as a part of your evolving. But as a fashion designer, what was your biggest trough?
And just to be very honest and very real, I think that I will always have the fashion and the creative part spirit inside of me.
Right.
And that's no matter what stage in my life that I'm at. But the biggest downfall for me that if I can use that word and not sound too negative, but it was staying focused with my business versus the personal part of it, the personal life.
Okay.
I've had some struggles, personally, but I don't let them show. I don't let them weigh me down. And I thought about this the other day. A lot of people, when they are depressed or when they're feeling down or when hardship has come over them, they like to go into a phase of just wearing, black or one color or nothing or gray.
Right.
And that never has been for me, even at my lowest lows. And I've had some lowest lows with regards to domestic violence, with regards to emotional and spiritual and mental abuse. And I don't think that I ever, because this has always been in me, that I had it in me to just wear all gray or all black or not want to get dressed up. That's just something that's in me. I thank my mother and my father for that. But I've had some lows, and it's been on the personal side of it to where I let this go to deal with personal issues. And there's just choices in life. So I would tell younger people or just anyone, just be careful with the choices that you make in life and think about it.
Absolutely.
Really, really think about it and what is going to work for you with regards to what you want to do, whether it be fashion design, whether it be carpentry, whether it be painting, whatever your craft or your art is it going to marry? Is it going to make you happy in the future with whatever you're doing personally in your life?
Right, right. Excellent points. So what's next for you, Lasonja Polk?
What is next for me is I appreciate the level of business that I have right now because it keeps me one-on-one with the customer. And I'm able to maneuver in the world of social media, in the world of holding my website together. But I do want to evolve as a business and branch out a little bit more with regards to, there's a couple of boutiques that I have that I'm in talks with with regards to getting a couple of my pieces in. But I want to stay as that artisan. I want to stay as looked at as an artist and a fashion designer. But I really want to make sure that my art is protected. And so I'm moving forward with taking my business to an LLC and branching that way. And with regards to, like I say, talking with the boutiques that I'm talking with around the country to get a few of my pieces customized to put in the shop.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. It's hard in business, number one, but then being a one-woman show and trying to do everything. So hats off to you. Congratulations. You've absolutely done it well, and your execution has been good. You know, and I know that when you grow, there'll be struggles that come with that, and you'll have to make the decisions, you know, about what you want to do as far as your branding and being able to do that. But you are on fire right now, so we know we're going to continue to see fire from you. You've given us some great tips. I look forward to seeing what else you will imagine, create, and share. I've enjoyed having you here. Please tell our audience how they can find you.
Yes. I would love for everyone to come and stop by the website. I'm at LasonjaPolk.com. My Instagram is Lasonja Polk, and that's LASONJAPOLK. And with the website, it's designed with an S. But yeah, reach out to me, and I always loved. I mean, just if anything, come to the site to be inspired.
Absolutely.
You know, and I'm okay with that. And if you do have a question that you would like to ask me, I don't have a problem with answering it. You know, right now we have YouTube, and I need, you know, people. Not too many people know how to sew, do proper construction. But I didn't have YouTube as far as the videos I can go to learn how to put on a button or learn how to put in a zipper. I did that with trial and error or just at school. But right now, you can do this in your own home. You just have to get in there and get it. So I appreciate you for that. And thank you for giving me the platform. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Tasha Polk Hearns is well-known throughout Texas and the nation for her business savvy. Known as the Marketing Lady, Tasha has helped entrepreneurs worldwide to establish a strong personal brand. Tasha is an author of a best-selling business book, Making an Impact, How to Build a Powerful Personal Brand. Tasha is also the director of Lift Fund DFW Women's Business Center, where she helps women-owned and minority-owned businesses excel by providing funding, business training, and other resources needed to thrive. She is an experienced professional with over 20 years of combined marketing, sales, corporate training, and entrepreneurial expertise. As an entrepreneur, author, business coach, and international speaker, she is passionate about empowering others to succeed in business and life. Tasha Polk Hearns is indeed a big Texas Bossin businesswoman. Welcome, Tasha.
Howdy. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. You have an illustrative career, and you've got a lot of different things going on, but you don't look that old.
I know. You know what? You can blame my daddy.
Okay. Well, good genes. Genes. You are well known as the Marketing Lady. How did you get that name, and what does it actually mean?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. Like you said in my bio, I've had many years of experience in corporate sales and marketing. And, you know, one day the truth about corporate America was revealed to me, and I didn't like what I learned. I learned that somebody else was in control of my destiny. So in the early 2000s, I fired my boss. So I quit.
Right.
And I launched my own company. And because my background was in marketing, as I was networking, going from various business groups and networking events, people kept asking that famous question when you network, what is it that you do? And I would say, I do marketing. I didn't have a business at the time. I was actually looking for a job. And then one day a gentleman came up to me and said, hey, you're that marketing lady, aren't you? You do marketing. I need help with my business. And that is really the beginning of me branding myself as the marketing lady. And so basically what that means is I provide personal brand marketing and brand strategies to solo entrepreneurs who really want to make a powerful impact with their brand.
Okay, and you've worked with different entrepreneurs around the world. So tell us exactly what you do through those techniques that you employ.
Yes, so what I love doing is helping people to define what is their personal brand. A lot of times people want to be like somebody else, but everyone has their own unique abilities, gifts, and talents that could be packaged and promoted into a personal brand. So I really help them define what that is in terms of the brand strategy, the brand look and feel, the brand messaging, and then I help them package that into a product or service, and then we develop a marketing strategy to create brand visibility online.
Wow, that's great. What are you seeing as the biggest need for business, particularly as we start to move beyond the pandemic?
Yeah, funding is always the biggest need. Whether you are a small business or a mid-sized business, funding is what helps generate the revenues, help you with marketing. So funding is one of those big areas, especially during the pandemic when many in the first part of PPP, many people didn't get access to that. And while we are reopened for business, business owners are still struggling to get back to where they were in terms of the number of customers and their revenue. So funding is one of those ongoing needs, but right now it is definitely a greater need than ever.
Okay, well, we often hear of people with great ideas, lack of capital. What business funding sources are available for small businesses? What do they need to do to qualify? And are there any other proven ways to get access to capital?
Yeah, so you mentioned how I am the director of the Lift Fund Women's Business Center, and there we actually provide women and minorities with access to capital. And it's important to work with a CDFI, which is what Lift Fund is, because we really target those that traditional banks would turn away. They'll turn them away because maybe they don't have the right kind of credit score, or they haven't been in business long enough, or maybe they don't have the proper financials in order. So some of the resources that are out there that has been out there for a long time are CDFIs, Community Development Financial Institutions. Ours, just like Lift Fund, we provide all types of funding. We even have a few grant programs for individuals who have been impacted by COVID. So if anyone wants to get funding and you're a veteran, a military veteran. We do have veteran programs, lending programs, and special interest rates for veterans. If you're a Latina and you live in the Dallas County area, we have a special loan program for Latina business owners.
Oh, wow.
And we also have grant programs for those businesses that were impacted by COVID. So there are resources not only from Lift Fund, but there are other organizations out there. Here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there's the Dallas Revive loan fund. And it's a forgivable loan. Oh. So it means you do have to meet certain requirements for it to be forgivable. If you don't meet those requirements, then it's not forgivable. So that loan program is available. And there's another one that just came out, and that one is called SOAR, SOAR. And that is a collaborative with a variety of small organizations who receive funds pooled together so that we can fund as many businesses as possible.
Okay, and can you give the listeners an idea of how much these loans are available for?
So the loans range from different amounts. It's hard to really answer that question because everyone has a different need.
So maybe can you give us a low and a possibility of a high?
Yeah, so it can be as low as $3,000 all the way up to $500,000.
Okay.
So it really, again, depends on the need. When you get over $250,000, you're looking more at equipment type loans, real estate, commercial real estate type loans, and then anything lower than that, you're looking at mostly operating capital.
Okay. Well, you've been at the helm of Lift Fund's DFW Business Women's Center for several years. Can you tell us more about the organization and what all you do?
Yeah, the Lift Fund Women's Business Center here in Dallas. It is a nonprofit organization. We're partly funded by the Small Business Administration. Luckily enough, we are the only SBA-funded women's business center in North Texas.
Oh,
and, you know, when you say a big boss, Big Bossin, you know, everything is big in Texas.
Right.
And so we have some big boots to fill because we have 72 counties that we serve here in the North Texas area, being the only SBA Women's Business Center. So what we do is we offer guidance, support, and training, access to funding, as well as we connect our clients to the various resources to help them start their businesses or even grow their businesses. The wonderful thing I love about our center is we have a team of 4 passionate females supporting other females, and each one of us are entrepreneurs ourselves. So we've been there, done that. Collectively, we have over 30 years of entrepreneurial expertise.
Nice.
So we have helped, you know, the smallest micro business to, you know, a large scale business generating over $1 million in revenue.
Okay, that is wonderful. And all of that is available right here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area,
Yes,
right?
it is.
Okay, I think more people need to know about that.
Yeah, that's why I'm here, to get the word out.
Right? How can a business qualify for help from the DFW Women's Business Center, and how do they apply?
Yeah, so it is so easy. I am going to repeat this 4 letters really easy. It's FREE. Free. So it's absolutely free to come and meet with us. So the process is very simple. You go to our website, Women's Business Center, DFW.com. You click on Contact Us and schedule a one-on-one consultation. It doesn't cost you a thing to do that. Then once you do that, you instantly, and once you show up to that appointment, you instantly become a client. You instantly become a member. You instantly become engaged. And so what does that get you? It gets you access. Access to information, access to resources. We had one lady recently tell us that what she liked about our center and working with us is because our business advisors really care about not only the business, but cared about her. Oh. And she was just so grateful that, you know, someone was really not only interested in helping her grow her recruiting firm, but also was interested in her personal life in terms of how is she managing her stress and, right. You know, is she doing self-care so that she can really be an effective business leader. So that's pretty much how you get involved and how you apply.
Okay. Who are the clients that you've helped that you can share specifics about what you did for them, and how did that increase their revenue? Yes.
I love telling stories specifically about those women who are in those underrepresented industries.
Yes.
So we have one of my favorite clients is Ana Munoz. She came to us in November of 2018. Her business was only 3 months old at the time. She was the office manager of a roofing company. And she told me that she started her business, 3 months prior because she was sick and tired of her boss I guess I shouldn't say this because I just mentioned her name, but she was sick and tired of her boss being on the golf course while she was running his business.
Right.
And so she eventually said, you know what? I can do this myself. He's out playing golf. I'm doing everything. So she started the business or her own roofing company, but had never started a business before, found out about us. We I personally worked with her and educated her on certifications that she needed to become a woman-owned and a minority-owned firm, especially a woman who owns her own roofing company. So upon getting her certification, she also obtained a loan through our program. And with that loan, she was able to hire more employees, but she also, with her certification, was able to become one of Lowe's preferred roofing vendors.
Oh, wow.
And as a result of that, she now is a preferred vendor, and she has 50 locations, 50 stores. So it tremendously doubled her revenue in less than a year, just because she came in not knowing anything about certifications, not knowing that there were resources available to help her accomplish her goals, and she is well on her way to generating $1 million in revenue.
Okay, well, congratulations to her. Hats off to her. You've also spoken about the importance of mentoring. Can you share how mentoring has helped you personally, as well as tips on who you need in your corner in order to propel your career?
Yeah, good question. I think mentoring is so important, especially for women, and particularly women of color. Women, because we are the ones that are always helping others and giving to others and supporting others, sometimes we forget to ask for help ourselves.
Right.
And as a business owner, you are in business for yourself, but you don't necessarily have to be in business by yourself, because it does feel very lonely. And that's when having a mentor is very important. Personally, I will say that throughout my entrepreneurial journey, I have actually had several white males as my mentors. It wasn't intentional for me to have them as mentors. It just naturally happened. But I say that because I think you, as a business owner and as a female, you need to have a variety of mentors. One, definitely a male. And if you are a person of color, you definitely want to have someone who doesn't look like you, particularly a man, because women and men do business differently. And male mentors can give you insight. They can be your sponsors. They can be your advocates to open doors for you. In my personal situation, my mentor recently, he passed away last year.
Oh, I'm sorry for your loss.
He opened up some major doors for me.
Right.
He introduced me to people that I would never have gotten access to. And when I walked into that room and they saw little me, 5'1", they're like, oh my gosh, Jim spoke so highly of you. Your stature is just different from what they were anticipating. And so I think that's one of the importances of having a mentor. But aside from having a male mentor, also a mentor can really just open up doors, lead you down a path to prevent you from making for some of the same mistakes that they made. So that's what I think having a mentor is really valuable.
Right. Having a mentor is valuable. I've got different people who call me and they'll say, do you have time to mentor me?
Yeah.
Do you have time? And it's important to give back. So it's a matter of finding the time so that they can drop those nuggets or get you introduced to the right people. So,
and I'm glad you said that, because I really believe that once a woman has reached a certain place, there's always someone looking up saying, I want to be just like Leilani. I want to be just like Tarsha. And we get so busy that sometimes we don't remember to reach back and pull somebody back up, someone up, so that they can pay it forward to the next person. So I definitely, for those listeners who are well established, very successful, even if it's coffee, 30 minutes on Zoom, or a lunch, to mentor someone, to just share your story. And as you said, it's a way to give back.
Right, it is. I also heard that congratulations were in order for you.
Yeah.
And that you were recently married.
Yes, I'm a COVID bride.
Well, congratulations. Can you share any details on getting married later in life?
Later in life, yeah. Well, I will just say, if it's a pandemic, that's planning a wedding is stressful enough, but doing that in a pandemic just takes it past level 10.
Right.
But for me, my husband, we've been together for a long time.
Okay.
He is my biggest cheerleader. One of the reasons why I married him, because he's my biggest cheerleader. He's very supportive in my entrepreneurial endeavors. As he was courting me back in the day, he had to prove a couple of things. So he would do the registration at my events for me. I was like, no, buddy, you got to work for this. So he would do the registrations, when I had to travel, he'd be there, carrying my bags and all that good stuff. So, I think it's really important just to find, especially a female who is an entrepreneur, to find someone who supports you of your goals and your dreams. And it does not have this ego where if you are, at a level of success because he has his own level. He's a success in his own right. And so it's always good to find somebody that's equally yoked. Someone who believes in you and, and someone that is going to be right there by your side, marrying you through COVID.
Right. That was nice. Now, was your actual wedding during COVID?
Yeah, I got married October 10th, 2020.
Okay. So you were in the thick of it.
I was in the thick of it. And before we all got vaccinated, right? There was no vaccine developed yet. But, we definitely had to scale it down. We did it outside. It was kind of hybrid where we broadcasted live on Facebook so that our friends and family that were at a distance could view it, and it actually saved us tons of money. So,
right.
So that for whoever is listening and you're stressing yourself out, the virtual is the way to go. Do it intimate, and then have it virtual for everybody else.
Right. Well, that's an awesome tip. Do you have any pointers for women in their 40s and beyond who are still waiting and looking for their Prince Charming?
Oh my goodness, that's a hard question. You're asking the wrong kind of woman that question, to be honest. I'm just going to be honest, because I am the type that I would not be looking for my Prince Charming. He would be looking for me, and he would know, he would naturally find me, right? So I took the path of pursuing my goals, my dreams first, because that's what was important to me. And like I said before, just, making sure that you have somebody that is, you're equally yoked with, who is going to support you. But, I would just say to, I'm a woman of faith. So, God will tell you when it's time for you to jump that broom. And I have plenty friends in their 40s and saying, hey, I haven't found Mr. Right. Everybody has things that they could work on and improve. Those are times where, let's not worry about finding Mr. Right. Let him find you, because he might have some things to work out just like you do. And when God puts the two people together, it'll be the two people coming together at the right time. And trust me, my husband and I, we've been together for like 11 years.
Okay.
So, but we've been through a lot, and, he's been by my side, I've been by his side. And when in the weirdest time to get married was the right time for us to get married.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That is. So what's next for you personally and professionally?
Well, I'm actually thinking about writing another book. Okay. I do want to say thank you so much for your support in our Women of Color conference and being a judge at our pitch.
Privilege.
Yes, it was so wonderful. The ladies who won, they were just so grateful for winning the prize money. So I think what's next for me is another book. In this role, it has really been a blessing to be in a position to influence and impact others, especially women of color. So that's what I really want to focus my next book on is women of color or BIPOC, Black, Indigenous people of color who are entrepreneurs and how to be successful in this world of entrepreneurship.
Okay, well, tell us where they can find you and where they can find the Lift Women's Fund.
Yeah, so you can visit the Lift Fund Women's Business Center at womensbusinesscenterdfw.com. Once you go there, you'll be able to plug into all of our resources, schedule an appointment. I am on every social media platform except for TikTok, but you can find me everywhere. You can even Google me. You can Google my name, Tarsha Hearns, all kinds of stuff will pull up, so you'll be able to connect with me there.
Okay. Well, y'all, that wraps up this episode's business segment. I've had a great time talking to Tarsha Polk Hearns. Today, we have shared some tools to help all the business owners listening to boss up. I mean, it's just simply time. And funding is not an excuse because Tarsha has told us where we can get it.
Yep.
And before we go, I've got a gift for you.
Oh, I like presents.
Right? Right. Our signature gift is the Big Texas Bossin. Oh, perfect.
Yes,
chocolate hat.
You.
So that is yours to indulge and enjoy. The other gift we have for you, because you are an author, is a Sugar Mama book.
Ooh. I think my husband will like that, right?
I don't know about that. I don't know.
Okay.
Read the book and then see if you want to share that.
All right.
I wrote that with my co-author, Travion Davenport, and it is a wonderful book. Wonderful book. We are working on the sequels to it, but you will love the Kaylani Jennings saga.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You can also follow Tarsha at Tarsha Polk Hearns at Tarsha, Tarsha Hearns, Hearns, on Instagram and themarketinglady.com.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That concludes this episode of Big Texas Bossin. I hope you all got the tea and really enjoyed it. You can follow us on all of our social medias at Big Texas Bossin, BOSSIN, and follow us on our website, www.bigtexasbossin.com. Y'all come back now.